Hi guys, and welcome to this week's video. Today is going to be an educational post. It's going to be all about coffee. How many people go into a coffee shop on the high street, no matter where you are in the world, and think, oh my gosh, this is so overpriced. Why do they charge so much money for a cup of hot liquid? Well, I'm here to tell you why. Now, I can't speak for all coffee shops because I've only worked in one and a little bit more of another one. But I do know that this is a question that I get asked every day. It's not even a question, it's a complaint. Every day I get asked, and I just want to settle some facts about why we charge the average price of £2.50, let's say, for a cup of coffee. First things first, coffee is not a profitable product. End of. Big chains of coffee shops, whether in America or over here or in Australia, will not make their profit from coffee. They won't. You make such little profit from coffee. All the profit that coffee shops will make will be from the extras. So that's cake, that's soft drinks, that's sandwiches, that's syrups, that's pastries, that's everything else but the coffee and tea and hot chocolate. Basically, the hot drinks they will not make profit on. In fact, they probably make a loss. And so our story begins. Coffee used to be stupidly expensive because it's grown in the most far-flung places on Earth. It can only be grown between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn, so that's above the equator and below the equator. So that's sort of like rainforest band that goes around the world. It can only be grown in those places. Now, if you know your geography, your political and social geography, you'll know that those areas are some of the poorest places on Earth, okay? So coffee is grown by the poorest and enjoyed by, okay, maybe not the richest, but it used to be. And now, if we compare ourselves to the people in these places, we definitely are richer than them. That's why a lot of places you'll see now will use rainforest certified and fair trade coffee, which does bump up the price, but it makes us feel morally good. How coffee is grown is a very long process, from getting from the plant, or even the seedling, to the plant, to your cup. It is a very long process. Coffee seedlings are planted, and where they're planted will take on the different taste of the coffee, and it will also impact the cost. So coffee from certain areas is going to be a lot cheaper because it's nearer to places, or it can be mass produced. So that's going to be a lot cheaper. So coffee like Vietnamese coffee and coffee from the Far East, it tends to be cheaper because it can be mass produced. But coffee from, say, the Caribbean is a lot more expensive because the islands are smaller, the plantations are smaller, and it could be more honed, let's say. Coffee seedlings, when they go into the ground, they take 5 years to grow into a bush big enough to produce coffee. And coffee is produced in cherries, so it's like little red berries basically, and then inside there's the coffee bean, which is more like the seed. That is the prize, that's the crop, and that is what's harvested. One coffee plant, bush, will produce 5 kilograms of coffee a year. So 5 kilograms is not that much. My coffee shop will get through 7 kilograms of coffee a day. Okay, on a Saturday we'll get through 10 kilograms. So we're getting through 2 coffee plants, just our shop, just in one day. So you can see how in demand this plant is, but how actually doesn't produce that much. And obviously if it doesn't produce that much, a bit like gold, the price is going to go up. That's just the growing process, okay? So then the cherries have to be picked, and then they have to be processed, and they have to be roasted, and then they have to be ground. And this is a long chain of events done by lots of different people. So then you're having to employ lots of different people. So it's not just the bean that's costing a lot of money, it's the people that's around it. Then you have the option of single bean roast or blended roast, a bit like malt whiskey, okay? So you can have a single cask or you can have a blend. So single cask whiskey costs a lot more than blended for a reason, because it's grown by one, well, whiskey's not, but coffee is grown by one farmer or one plantation, and it will have that distinct flavour. The best example I can think of this is Jamaican Blue Mountain, which is one of the most expensive coffees in the world. It is £20, I believe last time I checked, or last time I sold it, was £20 per 125 grams. Don't know what that is in ounces, apologies America. Most coffee shops will use a blend, but even then, this blend has to be uniform across all the coffee shops. So Starbucks' blend of coffee has to taste like Starbucks' blend of coffee, whether you're in Boston or Birmingham, England. Do you know what I mean? So that's going to take a lot of work as well. Not only does the blend have to be chosen and mixed together, it has to be uniform throughout the years and throughout the world. So you can see, again, that's another person that's being employed. And that's before like even the coffee has been shipped. You're forgetting that this coffee is grown over the other side of the world. It has to make it here. That's why originally it was so expensive, because it had to travel on the ships. And obviously as imports have become easier, the price of coffee has gone down. This is where a lot of numbers are going to get shot at you as well, but please bear with me. A double espresso is actually a very fine art, and you will taste the difference, okay? So a double espresso is 14 grams of coffee extracted for 20 seconds. And you should, if your grind is right, get 60 mils of coffee, okay? You with me? Now, that's quite a lot, and I'll show you actually what 14 grams of coffee looks like in bean format and grounded here. So it actually looks like quite a lot. And if you think how many coffees are served every single day, that's what's going into it. It is actually quite a lot. And as I said before, we get through 2 plant worth of coffee a day of what that plant can produce a year. Milk coffees have another element. So an Americano, you're just adding hot water. And I say just add hot water. Don't forget that hot water still costs money. It's not free. Milk has a whole other chain of people attached to it. So it has the dairy farmers, it has the people who will pasteurize it, it has the people who will bottle it, it has the people who will get it to your door. And then it comes to making the coffee. So that barista, you're not born knowing how to make coffee. Okay, the average Joe customer doesn't know how to make a latte, how to make a cappuccino, how to make a flat white. You might think you know, but trust me, you probably do not. So this barista has had to be trained. Time is money. The training is money. Making the coffee is money. A flat white takes years to perfect. I make so many flat whites a day, and I work 5 days a week, and I've worked with it for 18 months, and I will still mess up a flat white. They are hard to make. And let's not even talk about skinny milk. Okay, so You're making this latte and you're making this flat white, and you've had to learn how to do that. It's a skill. Just like hairdressing's a skill. Just like plumbing is a skill, okay? In fact, if I have anyone from Australia watching this, can someone correct me if I'm wrong, but baristas have to have an apprenticeship, I've heard. Okay, so it's viewed very differently. And then we're going to move on to the extras that will bump up the cost. You're in the shop. You've walked in. You've already had to walk into a building. Buildings cost money. They have rent to pay. That barista who served you and took your order costs money. That machine that they are making that coffee on, that can cost up to £20,000. Actually, how many lattes would you have to sell to make £20,000? The extras, crockery, cost me money. Takeaway cups cost money. You think they don't, but they do. In fact, crockery needs to be washed up. That dishwasher costs money. The barista doing the dishwasher costs money. Then you have, okay, this is like a personal annoyance of mine, but then you have the little additions that people add. Each sachet of sugar costs a penny. Okay, so if you go in and you take 2, you usually have 2 sugars in your coffee. That's fine. But if you take 5, that's still going to cost money. Serviettes cost money. By not taking these little extras, or not taking more than you need of these little extras, you can actually stop the increase of the coffee price, because they're not having to stretch to meet these overheads. Okay? Now I'm getting wound up, so I'm going to try and wrap this up, and hopefully this video hasn't been too long and it has been educational and it hasn't just made me look like I'm coming across as a pretentious bitch. But it's something that really grinds our gears, okay? Coffee is liquid gold. It's grown by people in the most troubled areas of the world, and so actually by buying this coffee, you are helping them. Yes, you are helping big corporations as well, who none of us like them. They zap the souls of people and the souls of the high street, but you are helping farmers in third world countries, okay? And you're also helping baristas. Baristas are paid minimum wage usually, okay? So keeping us in the job. And finally, sticking with baristas, they can't change that price for you. So please, don't be a rude numpty and comment on the price of coffee. And that brings me to the end of my rant. Thank you for watching, if you have got through this entire video. I did previously do another video on coffee called How Not to Piss Off Your Barista, which I will link at the end of this video. If you've liked what you've seen, then please give me a big thumbs up. Comment below what you think. Please don't be horrible to me. And if you really liked what you've seen, then please hit the subscribe button. My aim for 2017 is to get 1,000 subscribers, which would be amazing, but I don't know if I'll achieve that. So until next time, thank you very much, and bye!